tornadoes and, dust being kicked up, because you are still getting a lot of straight line winds on the southern flank of this storm. All right. So if you're getting anything kind of spinning up on the ground down there, more than likely they are what we call gustnadoes, just glorified dust devils. The tornado potential is going to be further north into northern parts, into northern McLean County. Now, we just got a severe thunderstorm warning for the rest, for most of McLean County. This does include Bloomington Normal. And that runs until 4:45. Severe thunderstorm warning was issued for 60-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail. National Weather Service in Chicago also monitoring Livingston County for a potential warning to come. Again, if there's anything tornadic right now, it looks like it is centered over 74. And I expect the new scan to probably show that a little bit further to the northeast than it does. All right. This is now, the rotation is now northeast of Congerville and headed for El Paso, Gridley, Chenoa. If you are in Secor, El Paso, Gridley, Chenoa, Minonk, Benson, or Roanoke, we need you to get into your storm shelter, activate your plan. Now, can we quickly bring up Molly's camera real quick? We don't need to turn her mic on, but I just want to show you the visibility we're dealing with here. Okay, in addition to the rain, there's a lot of dust and dirt getting caught up into this. So your visibilities, their visibilities are tanking. So they're going to pull over, they're going to let this go, but visibility next to zero. So if you are on Interstate 39, Interstate 74, again, this is going to be a nasty, nasty drive as these storms continue to push on through. All right, let's go ahead and bring back Viper real quick. There is some hail possible with this as well. The hail basically lines from Deer Creek to Danvers. This thing could still be in the process of cycling a little bit more. But again, Bloomington Normal, you're under severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. Tornado warning is basically Hudson North on 39 towards Minonk. Nathan, have you seen anything new in the chats?
Been monitoring things closely. It says 351. Okay, that was the old report there. So far, not seen anything new.
Okay.
It says in Gridley, the sirens are going off.
And that would seem appropriate, given the warning. So, and we haven't heard any Molly reporting pea-sized hail. Yeah, she's driving right through the core here, or now she's stopped, and rightfully so. So Molly's going to let this thing go through. She's getting hit by the rear flank of this storm.
Did get a report of hail in Congerville. No specification there on the size, but we had quite a few people chiming in reporting hail from Mackinac to Congerville with this storm.
Okay. We got a new mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center, and they're really honing in on areas just to our east, just outside of our viewing area here. With these new cells that are starting to develop near Champaign. These are going to be moving into a much more tornado-prone environment, let's call it that, as they push towards Interstate 57. Obviously, by that point, these storms are out of our area, so that'll be good. I think if we're going to see some of those long-track dangerous tornadoes, it'll probably be closer aligned to far eastern Illinois later on this evening, but we still have a few hours to go here before our threat is completely done. Now, Peoria, I know we still have some rain going on now, Worst of our storms is done. The next issue we'll have to deal with later tonight will be snow. For Bloomington, and I don't know if you can bring up our camera in normal there.
Yes, I will bring that up.
We'll pull this up. This is the view from our paradise here in East Peoria.
Okay. There's a view in normal. We can see the camera shaking.
Yep. And those are gradient winds. Those are not even thunderstorm-induced winds. If you want to do me a favor, Nathan, and try to angle that camera up, because we're looking due west.
Yes.
From uptown normal here. And we'll be able to see, you can obviously see the storms off in the distance. We'll be able to see the shelf cloud.
Yeah, just with these gradient winds just south of McLean County, we were getting reports of gusts over 50 miles per hour just with the gradient winds today. All right, so you said pan toward the...
Maybe angle up a little bit.
Angle up a little bit higher, okay.
Yeah, there's the shelf cloud. And if you want to keep kind of maybe branching to the right a little bit.
Yes.
And we'll kind of see how this looks as it... Again, behind this, you're going to get some strong winds, and I'm going to see what they have this warned at for.
Yeah, you can see the vivid lightning in the western sky.
All right, Molly's on her way to Gridley. Looks like we're getting... We had a report of a tornado 3 miles west of Carlock. That was at 4 o'clock. So we've had a tornado reported at 3:55 southwest of Congerville, tornado reported at 4 p.m. Okay, let's switch back to the radar because our tornado warning continues for Woodford County. Tazewell County, the tornado warnings have been dropped for your area. Molly's reporting 55 north is at a, we're getting reports of 55 north is at a standstill. Do we know where that came from? Oh, from Molly? Okay. And that's going to be likely due to the torrential rain that's pushing on through. Rotation, the signature there on velocity is not looking very strong at this point. And I'm thinking we're going to end up with a lot of reports of just a lot of swirling gustnados, swirls of dust at the base of these gusty winds that continue to push out and away from the storm. So we're getting this rain, cooled air being thrusted out ahead, and that's going to create a whole bunch of dust swirls. And occasionally those can be mistaken for tornadoes. But National Weather Service will go out and do some damage assessments, and if there's damage, they'll be able to determine what's been what. Let me go ahead and do a new time here. Storm arrival time for, as we head into Livingston County. All right, Secor, you're looking at an arrival time, 4:10, Hudson 4:13, Normal 4:14, El Paso 4:15, Panola 4:17, Towanda 4:20, Gridley 4:23, Lexington 4:30, same with Flanagan, Chenoa 4:33. For any viewers further north, no severe thunderstorm warnings up in LaSalle and Livingston counties for the time being, although parts of that tornado warning do clip the Livingston County border. All right, severe thunderstorm now pushing into Bloomington Normal. There's the view of that. There's a lot of dust being lofted into the air there, and that can be easily mistaken for a tornado.
Yeah, you can see that clear brown shading there going toward the right of your screen.
A lot of rain-cooled outflow air kind of pushing in. Our camera's probably going to start bouncing quite a bit here as that gust front passes through.
Yeah, our temperature in Peoria went from the lower 70s to the lower 50s as this thing moved through. So pretty remarkable change in the air mass.
Do me a favor, Nathan, and drop that camera down just a bit. I don't want it to actually get blowing off. Let's see if we can head it down just a little bit.
Yeah, we do not want that. All right, let's get this thing down. And just, boy, that wind, you can. That gust front is coming through right now. Boy, look at the.
A lot of debris swirling there. That's not tornadic. That's just straight line wind debris being lofted into the air. And the wind is certainly swirling around there between the buildings there in Normal. Again, this is just this uptown circle there. On top of our cameras on top of the Children's Discovery Museum there in Normal. So there's the gust front as it's pushed on through. Tornado warning continues for northern McLean and eastern Woodford County. This is until 4:45, so we've still got some time to stay with you. Now, if the rotation doesn't really start to pick up, what we may end up seeing happening is they may end up canceling this a little early, but we'll stay with the weather coverage through at least 4:30, barring there's no extension on any tornado warnings. But severe thunderstorm warnings continue for those in the Bloomington Normal area, and I'm still looking for the warning text here on that. All right, now we're getting we're getting reports from people near Hudson. These are coming in from the public of possible tornadoes, and so a lot of these may end up being mistaken as gustnados. But the public is reporting possible tornadoes up near Hudson, and that's the general area to look. But we're also getting a nasty, on the base reflectivity here, a nasty surge of air. And so I'm willing to bet more likely those are gustnados, but until we hear otherwise, there is some tornado potential in there, but I think people are reporting a lot of swirling dust that is probably more tied to the strong straight line winds rather than a tornadic vortex. Regardless, we still have a tornado warning in that area, and it should be treated as a tornado that is actively ongoing. El Paso, Minunk remain sheltered. Gridley the same. Eureka, any rotation with the storm is now east of you, and you will soon be in the clear. Now, you're still under the gun there for some heavy rain and some lightning. I do think any hail is now probably east of you as well.
Yeah, our velocity scans are showing some of the winds near Hudson could be near 60 miles per hour, estimated by radar.
Okay. So severe thunderstorm warning from McLean County until 4:45. And the tornado warning continues until 4:45 as well for both McLean and Woodford counties.
Yeah, the good news is areas like Congerville and Carlock, you are now safe from the potential tornado. That has now moved its way off to the north and east, although you are still technically in the warning.
Okay. Yeah, that's 60-mile-per-hour winds, nickel-sized hail, and we just got a new warning issued.
Yeah, that zone from El Paso to Normal, kind of right in between there, is where we're seeing those strongest winds.
All right, so we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Livingston County until 5 p.m. And that is going to be for the incoming storm that's now moving through Woodford and McLean County. They are anticipating now 70-mile-per-hour wind gust. Storm moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. So let me get the new time on that. We've also got some updates for you on the tornado watch. So there's the latest timing. El Paso now, Panola 417, Gridley 423, Flanagan 431, Chenoa 436, Cornell 443. I'm going to extend that out a little bit further so we can make sure Pontiac and Odell get caught up into that. And Pontiac, you're looking at an arrival time about 4:45. That's when this storm will approach you. Odell, 4:57. Rotation is evident. It's just not very tight, but I mean, again, we've been seeing these things just kind of cycle repeatedly throughout the afternoon. And as we mentioned, the conditions do get a little more favorable the further north and east we go. So I wouldn't be surprised here if we start to see this thing maybe reorganizing a bit as it starts to move into that better air near and east of 55. And the shear rate still highlighting it. Again, it's much weaker than what we've seen throughout the afternoon. Looking further downstream for a minute. Number of severe thunderstorm warnings now making a push towards Interstate 57. Those will all remain east of us. But those are the ones that I think could go on to produce the long track tornado risk. Meanwhile, LaSalle County, a stronger thunderstorm has developed. A lot of lightning. Notice the big uptick there. And you can kind of see that here over the last few minutes. So we got a strengthening updraft in southeastern LaSalle County. There could be a growing hail threat, but most of that would impacting areas like Morris, Saratoga, up through Yorkville. So those will be out of our area soon. El Paso, the rotation looks to be just due south of you. So remain sheltered. Eureka, as I mentioned earlier, the rotation has passed you and you are in the clear from the tornado threat. Gridley to be there at about 424, 425. Nope, I'm going to have to reassess that. It's now a little closer. Probably 420. Anticipate a 420 arrival time for Gridley. Chinoa, if it continues on its track, the rotation would end up passing just to your west, but you'll still be under the gun for at least some strong winds. I'm going to bring our camera back here. Things have really, wind-wise, have settled down in normal. Okay, getting some rain, the camera holding fairly steady. So we still got a little under 30 minutes to go on this tornado warning. That is probably going to be expired earlier than that, but we'll need to be watching for possible rotation as it moves into Livingston County. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep carrying this through 4:30, okay? We'll continue to stay with you with storm coverage till 4:30 on air. If we do not end up with any more tornado warnings at the bottom of the hour, we will then keep our coverage exclusively on our live stream on Facebook and on our website, ciproud.com. So we may jump off air if we don't have a new tornado warning when we come up to 4:30, all right? But we're not leaving you if you're in Pontiac. You can watch on our live stream. If we get a new tornado warning issued, we will then preempt programming again. Otherwise, at 4:30, we'll send it back to regular scheduled programming. So just for you guys in the control room, for you guys at home, that is the current game plan until as these line of storms continue to push through. Peoria, we are completely cleared from any severe thunderstorm activity. We're going to get some new showers developing periodically throughout the evening. The severe threat is going to end. Now, we're still going to have a lot of wind tonight. We are not out of the woods there. Here's feature track. You can see how these storms are going to continue to move on to the north and east. We get some additional showers developing. By 8 o'clock, we'll probably start to see some new showers around Peoria. And then we start to get that push of cold air. And by midnight, I'm expecting a change over to snow. Snow will continue as we head into early tomorrow morning. It's going to come down real fast and heavy for a few hours. It'll start to lighten up between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And then it'll all start to push out from there. The snow forecast real quick. This is a rare occasion for us, but we are calling for widespread accumulations of 1 to 3 inches of snow tonight, mainly on grassy and elevated surfaces. But as we saw this past weekend, Saturday night into Sunday, there was enough snow that fell, especially in our western counties, it was able to stick on the roads. So for those areas that get caught up in those heavier bands of snow, there could be some poor driving conditions Thursday morning, at least early on near Galesburg, basically along a Galesburg to Peru line. So just something we're going to keep in the back of your mind. Not something we're dealing with too often here in Illinois. It does happen, but I just want to throw that at you. We do have some snow on our way later on tonight. All right, the severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings continue for Livingston County. We are looking at 70-mile-per-hour wind gust as this line of storms pushes on through. Tornado warning for Woodford and McLean County. We're still keeping an eye on the possible rotation. The rotation that's still evident there on radar. And we've had some reports of tornadoes from the public, none of which have been officially confirmed yet. And it wouldn't be surprising if these have been mistaken gustnadoes. That does happen a lot with these thunderstorms, especially as they start to gust out and they do swirl. The dust on the ground swirls and it can look very tornadic. And so that is a common misidentification. It's not unusual. It makes most meteorologists do double takes. So don't feel bad if you misreported one that happens all the time. But there is still certainly some rotation there as the storm now passes over Gridley. So remain sheltered. We'll see if the National Weather Service, this is going to be moving into Chicago's area of concern, and we'll see if they're going to end up extending that back into Livingston County. Again, a lot of gustnadoes being reported out of this thing on the leading edge here, and that's coming from one of our sister station meteorologists who's down here chasing from Rockford. But that's the rotation. Again, crossing there 24 and pushing into Livingston County. Nathan, if you want to get the camera from Pontiac kind of pointed in that general direction.
Yes, looks like our Pontiac camera is actually offline at the moment.
Oh, that breaks my heart. All right, well, hopefully we'll get Pontiac back. I know they've had some wind, they've had some power concerns, so. But that's usually, I've caught in a lot of tornadoes on that camera. It's got a pretty good view of stuff coming in. All right, so that area of rotation, if it's there, it's right at the McLean, Woodford County, Livingston County line. That is where the rotation currently is. I've gotten a lot of messages from viewers. I'm going to try to go through here. And I know some of you have been sending some great videos in. All right, Molly, let's go ahead and bring in Molly. Molly, what do you have?
So off my right shoulder here,
yeah.
Kind of along the ground, I'm hoping I'm getting it in frame here. Can you see that along the ground?
Yeah, that's a classic gustnado, Molly. We see it.
Yeah, so that's a good example of what a lot of people are seeing and reporting.
Yeah, if we can, I don't know if you can, Molly, if there's a way, if you guys can pull over, if you guys are able to pull over.
We're on the interstate now.
Okay, yeah, when you guys get a chance and you get to the next exit, see if you guys can pull over and get those gustnadoes on camera again, because we are getting a lot of those reported as tornadoes. And look, they look very tornadic. The swirls, the dust swirls can be intense at times, and I've seen gustnadoes do damage, but it's typically far weaker than anything tornadic. Let's go ahead and come back to my computer real quick.
We can get off.
And we'll have Molly, when she gets to that next exit there, and we'll see if she gets reframed up here. I'm going to try to save a video here from a viewer. Just some excellent gustnado examples. Here, I'm going to move this in to frame. If you have videos of gustnadoes, in fact, here's a picture of one. I'm going to bring this in real quick. I'm going to drag this over. All right, this is what we're getting. We're getting a lot of these reported across the region. All right, this picture being sent in by Stephen Case. All right, This looks like a funnel cloud. This looks like a debris signature, but this cloud up here is not really rotating. The dust is going to swirl around a little bit, but this little finger-like cloud isn't rotating. These are the gustnados. They arc a little bit, and the reason they're kind of arced back like that, you know, they kind of look like the letter C, that is due to the gust front surging out. So it's outlining the gust front, and you can see how it kind of fans off a little bit at the base here. That dust is being blown straight out ahead, and every once in a while, right at the base, it'll start to swirl. So that's what Molly caught, and we've got a lot of great pictures of those coming in. Keep them coming. Now, they're important to us. They help us kind of identify what's a greater threat and what isn't, and gustnados do throw a lot of people through loops. Let's reorganize, reset our rotation. Now looks to be, it kind of moved directly east there on 24. It's between Gridley and Chenoa. If there's still some rotation, it's right along the county line there. But again, I think you're going to get a lot more gustnado reports out of this rather than tornado reports. But El Paso, you're still going to see some very strong winds out of this. You're getting very strong straight line winds on the back end of the system. Rain-cooled air is being brought down and is surging now to the east. And that's going to create these, the possibility of spin-ups. It's going to continue to create these gustnados as they push into Pontiac. And we'll see, it's not going to be hard for this thing maybe to start spinning up again near Pontiac. Again, the conditions, the further north and east we go today, are a little more favorable for tornadoes compared to what we ended up with on Friday night. We're going to need to watch for southeastern McLean County. We're watching these storms further south. These are going to be passing through Logan and DeWitt, and it could end up clipping southeastern McLean County.
Yeah, those same storms have a history of some very large hail. Just east of Springfield along I-72, they're actually reporting slick roads because of so much hail causing the roads to be icy. So that is near Buffalo along I-72.
Yeah, there it is. I've got the hail swath there. Yeah, right there west of Illiopolis. Yeah, they might need to bring out the snowplows. That was kind of a regular occurrence back when I was in Wyoming. Not so much here. Also, if you do have hail reports, we'll take them. If you've got them there in Tazewell County, look at a good string of hail with this supercell that tracked across the county earlier today. All right, back to the radar. We're getting some new updates. LaSalle County, eastern LaSalle County, now included in a severe thunderstorm warning until 5:15. I'm getting some new updates from the Weather Service. And they do continue, the National Weather Service is continuing that tornado warning. And we're still getting public reports of tornadoes in and around the Hudson, Gridley area. But again, I'm thinking most of those are probably gustnados. But they've got that confirmed tornado warning tag on it now. Okay. So there's they've again updated that due to the public report of a tornado. And we'll find out here when they go out and do damage surveys if there's actually anything there. There's been a lot of dust being swirled out there, a lot of gustnado reports. That rotation is probably just now over Chenoa, excuse me, just over Chenoa. There is some rotation near Lexington, but it's not alarming. That would be more straight line winds. So as the storm now moves into Livingston County, this is going to be pushing into Pontiac and Fairbury. And again, at 4:30 here, we're going to send you back to regular programming on both TV stations unless we get an extension of a tornado warning. You can feel free to continue to watch our storm coverage online on our website, ciproud.com. We've also got this streaming up on our Facebook page, and we'll keep you in the loop there. As soon as a tornado warning is reissued, then we will come back on air with storm coverage as appropriate. So if you are in Livingston County and eastern McLean County, we advise you to start moving over to the live stream now. And we're still waiting some additional reports. The spotters there, again, we've got Chinoa sounding sirens due to public reports of a tornado. That rotation now looks to be more into Livingston County at this point. So what if the National Weather Service here in Lincoln is going to let that tornado warning expire a little earlier? And this severe thunderstorm warning is for 70-mile-per-hour winds in Livingston County. All right, let's go ahead and come back here, and we'll come back. So for now, we're going to move this over to our live stream only now that the rotation with the storm has moved into Livingston County, but it is no longer tornado warned. The warning, the area of rotation that's prompted the warning has moved into Livingston County. If we get a new severe or a new tornado warning, we will jump back on air for it. Otherwise, continue to follow our storm coverage live on our website, ciproud.com, as well as our Facebook live streams. We'll keep you updated as these storms continue.
For severe weather alerts and updates, download the CI Proud to Go weather app. We now return to your regularly scheduled program, already in progress.